What is going on? This is your boy Jordan JC back again on the ATS Report, and it is a good one because I got my boy again with me on the channel, PK from PKidd Talks NBA. You also know him even more from the Windy City Breeze as the main co-host with Pat the Designer. Of course, I'm on there as well with C-Dub, Joe Holt, and Stefan the Don. What's going on, my boy? How you feeling?
Man, feeling good, feeling great. How about you?
Doing good, man. Doing really good because, man, you actually put me onto this just yesterday. Luka Doncic and the Mavericks, they they won against the Phoenix Suns, 128-114, and Luka did something that was very special as far as a milestone in his career already. With just 6 seasons in, man, he reached the 10,000 career point threshold. That is something to talk about, man. I think Luka, I've been said this, I think Luka is a special player. You always talk about all of these overseas prospects. We talked about one not too long ago that's going to, it was Kentucky. And
Yeah.
all of these different players that have these high expectations, even one that I even saw that's on the team with Luka, Dante Exum, kind of fizzled out. You know, all of these different expectations of these overseas players and who they're going to be. Are they better than Dirk? Are they better than Paul Gasol? You know, all these things. And I think that Luka has definitely risen to the occasion to meet all of those expectations and more, man. What you think?
It's not only that, like I agree with everything you just said. The funny thing is he's doing it so early in his career. And you know, he's only rivaled by a couple individuals. I mean, he's in the company of Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant was in that conversation. LeBron James obviously was in that conversation. Some of the youngest to actually reach that milestone. And so him doing it at this age, and not just the points perspective, you gotta look at what he's doing on the assist and rebound perspective as well. He's coming around as a well-rounded threat. Like it's ridiculous. Like we talk about, you know, what he did to Phoenix. For some odd reason, he has a bone to pick with Phoenix. I don't know what it is, but Phoenix is just like, he sees Phoenix and he just goes off.
Devin got under his skin, I think, a few times in the playoffs.
Man, 50 points.
Yeah.
15 to 25 from the field. But 15 assists to go along with that. Like, how do you get 15 assists and 50 points? Normally that you see somebody with 50 bones, all the assists are them scoring, right?
Right.
15 assists on top of that. So he contributed 80 points realistically. If there was all twos, we know there may be some threes in there, but 80 plus points just solely that he was impactful of, or he assisted on, or something like that. We're talking about a generational talent here that we haven't really seen in the modern NBA. If I'm going to be frank, I think we may be looking at one of the best, if not the best scorer in NBA history when it's all said and done, simply because of how he gets it done and how he assists. He's already putting up LeBron numbers well before LeBron was even doing it. And that's even freakishly amazing to think about. So I can't even put that into words. When you look at his stat line, look at his career numbers, it's like, dog, you shouldn't be able to. He's been doing this since his sophomore year.
Yeah.
He's a 28-point-a-game player from his sophomore year.
Yeah.
What in the world, man? Like, what is happening right now? He's on an all-time level, man. But I think this also goes to the point that you know, he's been playing professionally since he was like, what, 14?
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while.
Maybe the American game now needs to catch up with that, because there are players now coming over from you know, Europe that are, you know, they've had professional experience and stuff like that. And Luka is just a testament to that. Like, you know, if it wasn't for that experience, I mean, he played Russell Westbrook when he was like 16. He played the Olympic team. So it's like all of this is together in a way that's just like, yo, this is unbelievable. But what did you think about it, man? What are your thoughts on Luka?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't followed Luka this year, but I'm glad you put me onto it, just because I've been so focused on the whole hype around the Bulls and what they're going to do and Kobe White. So, in all honesty, this topic was fresh to me. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I didn't realize he was doing these type of things overall, just as far as his, you know, the complete game. I looked at his averages, man. Luka is averaging for his career in 6 seasons 28 points per game, 8.6 rebounds, and 8.1 assists. Did not realize this dude is nearly averaging a triple-double for his career. And then even this year, like you just mentioned, going back to some of the stats, third currently behind MJ and Wilt in the points per game leaderboard, and thinking that maybe he could be the all-time leading. Now, are you saying all-time leading score? Like eventually he'll get past LeBron, or are you saying points per game average in
I
the
think he
NBA?
could be the all-time leading scorer. Depends on,
Mm,
how long he chooses to play. Now, Luka has
okay.
already, in jest said that he doesn't plan on playing as long as LeBron has played. But
Okay.
I mean, you got to think about it. He's putting up 28 points a game on his average. Right now, he's averaging 33. Um, if he follows the same career path as, let's say, a Karl Malone, LeBron James, and things of that nature, who didn't take a whole lot of threes early in their career, he could actually catch up to them within 15 seasons. What took Karl Malone 19, I believe, or 18, uh, someone was doing the math on that
Yeah.
because of the volume of threes that he takes. I mean, yeah, that's the big game changer there. But you got to think about it. If there's nothing that's stopping him from averaging 30 plus points a game for the next couple seasons. And Mike is top 5 all time. I think top 5, top 6 all time at points scored. Mike really only played 15 seasons. If you really want to really look at it, he really played 12, 13 at a high level. If you want to exclude his Wizards days, and he averaged 30 points a game. By averaging 30 points a game for those 12, 13 seasons, he put up 32,000 points.
So now I want your opinion on this because you bring up a good point. Now that I'm thinking about this, do you think that maybe records are going to be broken a little bit easier just because of the style of the game that's being played today, with Luka being
Absolutely.
that type of player that, and overall the league shooting more 3-pointers, which obviously is a quicker pace to getting more points and everything. Do you think that kind of plays a role in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there's two different things to keep in mind. One, the players before the 3-point era who would have been accredited with having more threes, people like Jerry West come to mind. Jerry
Yeah.
West, I still
Facts.
believe, put up 25 or 26,000 points with no 3-point line. But
Yeah.
he's known for for deep shooting. He's known for that, right? It's actually one of his nicknames. If he had a 3-point line, he'd be well into the 30,000 point mark, right?
That's a fact. Yeah.
That one change right there changes his entire legacy on that, because he would have taken more threes or been credited for more threes, right? He would have more points. In this case, because the 3-point line is considered a better shot than some mid range, I mean, Luka took 16 threes last time. I mean, excuse me, last night. The game before, he took 10. If you go back to the 90s, those players, you could go 2, 3 games without seeing a team go shoot 16 threes. It just wasn't how the game was played. Not that they couldn't, but they didn't practice it. It wasn't the style of play.
Mm.
Luka's taking more threes per game than some teams did in the 90s. And when you factor that in, yeah, if he's hitting them at the clip that he's hitting them, nearly 40%, he should absolutely, be able to break certain records if that's his goal, if that's what he wants to play and how long he plays. But that's indicative of any player now. Like Trey Young is going to be, if he
There you
plays
go.
a long time, he's going to be a top 15 scorer, from the numbers perspective because of how many threes he takes
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he hits him at the clip that he hits him. So it's just how the game is played. I think that a separate rule book will probably, not rule book, but I think we will look back at this era differently and not say that these players were better, but really appreciate the game is just different. And if
Yeah.
the
I
game is
agree.
different and you just give him credit for that, I don't think there's any comparison that needs to be there, but he's definitely going to break some records for sure. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony's what, 28,000 points?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Don't you see a lot of Carmelo Anthony and Luka?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Same type of better shooter, I think Luca is. But yeah, absolutely. They have the same like pattern of game. I totally agree with you with that. Man, I got to be honest with you. Know I'm all about stats. So there was one that kind of blew my mind when I saw it because there are only 2 players in NBA history that have had the stat line in a game of 50 plus points and 15 plus assists. You already know the one is Luca. I want to challenge you because I know you know your stuff. Who would be the other one?
James Harden.
Oh man, you said that way too fast, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't James Harden
definitely.
have like a 60-point game with like 20 assists or something like that?
Well, here's the thing. So December 31st, 2016, and that's close. So he had 53 points, 17 assists, 16 rebounds.
Okay,
Insane numbers, and it was against the New York Knicks because Derrick Rose. I saw the stat. That was with
okay.
Noah Rose. Brandon Jennings was still on the team, so he defeated those guys. He was 14 for 26 from the field, 9 for 16 from three. So he had a very efficient triple double
Yeah,
of 50 plus 15 plus assists. Man, I was like, man, that is insane, dude.
yeah. James Harden had a 60-point triple double, and I was thinking about that game. He might not have had 15 assists though. Well, clearly he didn't if that's the stat line. But that was the game that came to mind when I thought about that question.
Yeah.
Immediately. I'm not the biggest James Harden fan. It's no secret.
No, I'm not either. I'm not either. But you
You know,
can't deny the numbers.
ain't
Like
deny
prime
the
James
numbers,
Harden
man.
in Houston was something to watch. Even though obviously they went away from the way he got a lot of his free throws because they took
Yeah.
I forgot they took away that what was it
Well, they
I think
took away the sweep through
the
the way
sweep
he was,
through where he was using that a lot to get get to
um,
the stripe.
and he would just dive to the basket with no intent to actually score. He'd do a Euro step ball way back here. You ain't shooting that ball, and just play for the foul. So when they took
Yeah,
that away,
yeah,
his points tanked, but he's kind of rebounded pretty well.
he
Um,
has.
you look at James Harden. Here's actually a question: is Luka the second coming of James Harden in all actuality? Because you look at
Mm,
James Harden's best years, and you look at that stat line. If
hmm
you didn't watch James Harden, like if you're somebody 20 years from now who's just going to only go by the stats, you didn't see the game, you would say that James Harden's probably a top 3 shooting guard all time.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the stats and not the player, you just put them in, like you say that he's player A. Yeah, absolutely. You would think that, yeah, this dude is one of the greatest
And you
numbers
watch
wise.
James Harden, then you know that that ain't facts.
That is
But
not true. Yeah. If you even hear James Harden give interviews, you know that ain't
yeah,
yeah, no. I'm with you on that. I've never been a James Harden fan as far as like wanting him to be on like a team that I root for like the Bulls because you and that's where I think Luka and him are different because I think Luka, if put in the right circumstance, because I know Dallas hasn't done anything either. But if you put Luka, like I'm gonna be honest with you, put him on this type of team with the way they're playing now on the Bulls,
mhm.
I think that they are a threat to win it all, in my opinion. I think that's the type of player that the Bulls are missing that can do it all and kind of be that point guard that can put Kobe to the shooting guard position. But that's neither here nor there. I do have a twofold question that I
Okay.
want to kind of close this out with because we're talking about how great Luka has been since he put step foot in the NBA. Do you think he will go down as the greatest Mav? Of course, we know who everybody thinks the greatest Maverick is still. And will he go down as the greatest player from overseas? So what do you got for that first question?
I think both of those are possible.
Yeah.
Um, will he? Totally different story. And the main thing I say is because I look at his last 10 games and I see I see 15 assists, 10 assists, 10 assists, 10, 13, 17, and 33. Like this man had 17 assists and 33 points, right? But I've said this about LeBron. I've said this about other players. I've said this about Russell Westbrook. I've always believed that if they did a little bit less and allowed their teammates to do more, they would have won more.
Mm-hmm.
I believe LeBron James would undoubtedly have been one of, if not the GOAT, as far as rings are concerned, if he had taken a back seat in certain areas. He's having that same issue now. There's no like mistake about this. There hasn't been a successful point guard with LeBron James,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? There hasn't been. D'Angelo Russell is a decent point guard. He's like flat out said, this ain't what I like what they're trying to force him to do. This ain't what I do. You know what I'm saying? He's saying stuff like that. What does that have to do with Luka? Luka's in the same boat because you can't say he didn't have help. He had Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is over there
Hey,
killing it in New York.
hey, yes. That's a
You
fact.
know, he had KP. KP, they were all on the same team at the same time, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
KP is in Boston playing his role well, and
Killing.
he's going to help them get over the hump. I mean, they do have a massive team, right? There's the Monstars over there, but
Yeah.
like he still plays a very pivotal role, and he's still a really good player. Um, he has had talent around him. It's him. James Harden has had that same issue. It's him at certain points. So I think that ultimately he could go down. He may go down as the greatest math if he wins a championship with the stat line he's putting up. I think that's like a no-brainer. I think even Dirk Nowitzki would even admit that. That's like, I don't even think that's the biggest thing. But the greatest European player, that kind of comes down to if he wins and if he learns to take a step back. Like I think that's ultimately what has to happen because he's
Hmm.
had too many good people come through Dallas for him not to get it done, for them not to make a stronger playoff push and stuff like that. And I think that's because he does so much. When someone dominates the stat line like this, that means someone else isn't. So who are you taking that opportunity from? Who's shrinking back because you're doing so much, and whose game is being modified to a point where they're probably not as a beneficial to the team because you're doing as much. And that's just always been my take. And I see that's happened with Luka so much. The good thing about it is he's young. It's only 6 seasons in. He's still in his early 20s, mid 20s. He's 24 right now. He has time to figure it out. Some players like LeBron at this point is LeBron. LeBron is going to be LeBron. His career's at this point is pretty much done. You know, Melo was the same way. Russell was done. Those people are older. You know, they are who they are. He has the opportunity now to actually pivot and actually like really capitalize off of just allowing trusting his teammates more, in my opinion. And that's just every time I see him play, that's what I see.
Right. No, I'm with you on that. I think, well, I'll put it like this. I think Luka Doncic will go down. I'm gonna put that stamp of approval on it because I think that when I look at the numbers, I was looking up Dirk's numbers because everybody says that Dirk has been the greatest math. Uh, didn't realize Dirk only averaged 20.7 points per game for his whole career. And I think that's because of the tail off at the end. I looked at some of the numbers at the end of his career when he was getting
Mhm.
older, which didn't help him with that. But I never realized Dirk didn't average over 27 or 28 points a game. I know he had Steve on his team a few years, but he still was the focal point. I didn't realize he never got close to 30. And so, Dirk 20.7 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists for his career, 21 seasons. That's a third of what Luka's doing now. I think if Luka, like you said, he may not last that long as far as seasons are concerned, but if he's putting up what he's doing now, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Luka's going to be the greatest math. Now, overseas player, uh, who comes to mind? I mean, Paul Gasol to me comes to mind. If I'm missing a name, you throw it out there because Dirk, Paul Gasol. Uh, I mean, of course, we're talking about Victor Wembanyama, who has the potential to be probably one of the greater overseas prospects ever.
Bro, he deserves his own video because what they doing over there to him is criminal.
You think that they're misusing him?
Bro, I don't even think it's pop. I think those players are just not trying to give him the rock at certain points. I be seeing moments where it's like, dog, he's 7'5".
Yeah,
Like he's just put it up there. Let's let
right.
like,
Yeah,
that what's happening is they got too many young people trying to make a name for
trying
themselves.
to be the guy. Yep.
And it's like, yeah, that's criminal over there. But you're right, he does have the opportunity. Like, but I don't think he at his size, I don't think he can be.
You don't think the longevity is going to be an issue because everybody with that kind of like unicornish type of look, eventually they kind of fizzle out because of the health and the lees and all that.
And it's the funny thing is he doesn't have to put up Luca numbers to be great. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? He's
Mm-hmm.
already putting up great numbers. I think he's already doing what 19 8. How many rebounds? He's averaging a high, total there. So he's going to be a good big man.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if just sticking with the question, if we really look at it from overseas, no one's came out the gate like Luca's done it. And the game has evolved to a point where it's allowed Luka to exist. Those
Yeah.
players came before him. So I think realistically, if you look at it from the aspect of the game should be better, people should be better, these players should be better, the technology, everything like that, the way the game is played should evolve. Yeah, he has the opportunity to be the best of his generation moving forward and until the next rendition of the European player comes along. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's how the game should go. That's really what how people should look at the game. Um, I just want them to win. Like to me, points and everything is cool, but how did you dominate your era through a winning perspective? Because I don't know many people who look at the Mavs and say, "Yeah, that's the championship team."
Yeah. Not. Yeah. That's a fact. Because
You
I
know,
think Dirk only has one title, right?
Dirk only
When they
has
beat the
one.
Heat.
Yeah, he went twice. He only has one, right?
Yeah.
And even back then, did you look at them and say championship team?
No.
You
No.
you thought contender, like, but you didn't think championship team. So like they are. in that perspective, I just want him to win. Like, be known for winning, not putting up these massive stats. Be known for how you dominate the game from the win perspective, and leave the rest out. Um, and let's go from there. That's what matters to me. That's my personal opinion. Rings matter to me. I don't care what nobody says. It's all, they play the game for rings.
Yeah.
Like, so for him to be the best European player, he has to win for me.
Yeah.
And for him to be the best European player in America, he has to win for me. Like, statistically, whatever, like that, whatever. There's everyone in the pros could put up monster numbers if they really sought out to do it, if their role allowed them to. That's a, you think Dame can't score 100 points?
Oh, easily, probably. Yeah,
You
if
know what
he
I'm
put his
saying?
mind to it and they allowed
But
him.
I
Yeah.
want Dame
Yeah.
to win. Like, Dame is like,
Yeah.
win games. So I hope that's what ultimately translates there. And you know what the
That,
funny thing is? They might be coming around to it. I think they're starting to build that, and I think Kyrie Irving being there is going to help him develop that eventually. Kyrie's hurt right now, so that's why you see a lot of this stuff. But I think eventually that mindset is going to translate to Luka in some way, because Kyrie does have a lot of that Kobe mentality, the watching the film, stuff like that, and really focused on like really getting that done. And I think that's the best thing for Luka right now. He needs more vets with that championship experience around him, so they can instill that into him, and that may change his game as he goes along. So just
so
win.
now, you mentioning that, that's a good point. And I guess we'll close it out with this question, because you bring up a good point, even bringing up Damian Lillard, and now saying that they're trying to build that team around him to probably not just be a contender, but be, mentioned in championships. Do you think that Luka Doncic will have to go elsewhere to realize his potential, and getting around a better veteran team that can get him to that title run, like a KG did, Garnett did with the Boston Celtics, like possibly Dame is going to do at the tail end of his career with Giannis, rather than staying in Portland, being loyal to the team and to the base, and thinking that, okay, we're still going to build around you, but it's never, come to fruition. Do you think that Luka Doncic will eventually say, you know what, I've given my all here, I've given 6 to 10 here, I'm on I'm in the peak of my career now, I think I need to go elsewhere to take it to the next level?
I hope not.
Yeah.
Um, I could see that situation playing out that way. I could see a situation where he is blaming the organization for not getting the right tools in place. Um, but I also can see a situation where the organization is like, we're giving you everything. Um, and they really kind of did. They gave him a lot. There's no reason why they shouldn't have more success. I think a lot of it comes down to their coaching. Um,
Yeah.
Jason Kidd, I believe Jason Kidd, right? It's Jason Kidd still. Yeah, it's Jason
Yeah.
Kidd. It may not be the coach for everyone. And if you think about it, um, you look at Jason Kidd's tenure as a head coach, he had Giannis. He had Giannis playing the point guard. I ain't saying he wrong for it, but I mean, Giannis ain't a point guard. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way that Jason Kidd teaches and coaches the game, he sees it from a true floor general's perspective. But Luka has way more talent, is a bigger threat, way better shooter than he was. And so the way that I see the game going is Jason Kidd allows his players to play free, push, stuff like that. And that's cool. But when you do that with a player like Luka, who can do so much, I think that kind of gets lost. And so I think a changing of coach is what's going to have to happen. Not to say that Jason Kidd is terribly bad or anything like that. I mean, I think he does have a winning percentage in
Mhm.
Dallas. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be off on that one. I don't
Mhm.
know what his winning percentage is but I can see and identify certain spots where it's like I think that's coaching, and I think that's ultimately what has to happen. They have to change the coaching situation there, because other than that, where's Luka gonna go? Like, where would he fit?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If he makes it work, he could definitely fit here. I could see Luca in a position where he would be the lead guy here,
With
because
who?
we're always talking about a real point guard, right? We say Kobe White is taking a ascension, but Kobe White isn't a real point guard in the definition of, even though I agree that he's getting other people involved and his numbers are showing it, I don't think he's a point guard first mentality. He has a scoring first mentality.
Yep.
So
And Luka's
here,
the same way.
yeah. Yeah,
He's
man,
just better
that's
at
a
it.
good question. I don't know. Man, who would want Luca?
Now, mind you, if Luka said, "I want to trade right now," half the league is going to say, "Yeah, we need Luka," right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
He feels the scoreboard. He's going to put butts in seats, stuff like that. You be crazy as an owner not to go get Luka, right? But it's like realistically, how do you build a team around him that's competitive, and what team do you build that's better than what Dallas has already provided him? Like a more defensive minded team? Sure, I give you that. They need better defense, but
Yeah.
name those players. Like, would he work out in Miami? No, not in my opinion. Not in my opinion.
I think because Miami doesn't, well, they got Bam, but I would think they would need a few more defensive minded big men on that team.
Because now
Yeah,
you're talking about culture, you're talking about fit, you're talking about mentality. Could you
yeah,
see Luka coming into that culture and it working?
yeah. That's a good one. That's a good point because initially I was going to say, yeah, I could see Luca playing alongside, the likes of a Jimmy and Bam and Jaime and all those guys. But yeah, I think that honestly, and this could be crazy. Call me crazy. I could see him working out in Minnesota, where you have Ant Man and Rudy Gobert, and I don't know if Cat would still be there, but I could see that working out because they're a better defensive minded team. You have the anchor inside.
The
I don't
only
know.
way I see it working out is if you built the 2018 Houston Rockets. Like you would have to build that type of team for
Mm.
it to work out for him, which means you
Was that
need
with Chris Paul?
it may have been. I think so.
Chris
I think
Paul
it
and
was
James?
Chris
That was
Paul.
still then they still hadn't. I don't
And
know.
realistically, that's
White.
what Dallas is already trying to do.
Right.
They
Right.
got him some
They
big
got
men
it.
that are
Yeah.
rim runners. They
Yeah.
got you another point guard or two guard. Now, mind you, he has some injury history there, but he got you another point guard that can take the scoring load off him. Kyrie is one of the best buckets in the league. No one can argue that.
Yeah.
You got shooters around you. They really are rebuilding that. Now, are they running the same offense, same pace? That's up for debate. That's a different story. We could probably say not, but like that's really what they're building. And you need that for his skill set and what he's trying to do because we've only seen it replicated one other time. And that was with James Harden and all that. So that's just how that kind of boils down for me. Like, there's only one other team I could think Luka would fit in like immediately, and that's Indiana Pacers.
That's a good one. That's a
Fast
real good
pace.
one.
I'm not focused on score. I'm not focused on no defense. We just gonna outscore you. Guess what?
Let's
Hey,
just
you,
go. Right.
hey, half court is in the air before y'all get down. Don't even worry about it. Like
Right.
that's the only thing I can see happening.
That old
And
Phoenix Suns type of play. Yeah, yeah. 15
yeah,
seconds or less or something like that. Uh okay. I
absolutely.
can see that. I can see that. That's
And
good,
but they
good,
don't
good, good
have that.
stuff. Yeah.
They don't have that. So I mean,
Yeah.
hey, either way, I'm happy that he's here. I'm happy that we get to see such greatness. I just hope it all comes together. And I hope it's not one of those situations where we see this disgruntled star and all that stuff. Like no one wants to go through that. Like go through the trenches, build it the right way, do the right things, and let's see what happens. And I think he has the opportunity to do that. So
Hey, good stuff, man. Let's see what happens. I think Luca definitely is a special player, and like you said, winning cures all. So hopefully, if he does stay with the Mavs, maybe that's something that can continue to elevate his career. Is if they win, championships are definitely part of a good legacy for an NBA player. And yeah, I think again he'll go down as the greatest Mav and probably one of the greatest players in the league and from overseas. So we'll definitely look closely at it the rest of his career. It's definitely the early start stages of his career, so we'll see what goes on with that. But again, thank you, my boy, for hopping on the channel with me as always, man. Shout out to
yeah, thanks for
PK.
having me.
Man, continue to follow him on all his stuff. PKidd Talks NBA. Man, that man is doing big things over there. I think you're over 1,100 subscribers now, man. You building
Hey,
that thing, man.
like you said, brick by brick, man. It's one day at a time.
Brick by brick, man. This guy is my mentor. I appreciate him in this YouTube game, man.
I
So
ain't no to it, man. You
hey
got it.
man, you're my sensei, brother. So no,
Right.
man, but shout out to you, man. Everybody follow his page, and as always, you all, I want to hear you all's thoughts and opinions on this topic. Do you think Luca is somebody that is going to be is a special player, but will he continue his trajectory and what he's doing? Because it is truly a special sight to see. And I definitely will be down there with you all in the comment section. As always, if you like this video, show some class, comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video with others. And I will see you guys on the next ATS report.
Peace.